Hi everyone, my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in today's video I want to talk about an article I recently read in The Guardian with the headline, French fries increase your risk of type 2 diabetes by 20%. This headline is everywhere at the moment because it triggers people and it sounds like someone is taking away your fries for no reason. I want to use this study as an example because I've been doing this kind of research on myself for a long time, and I've also been tracking my blood sugar carefully to see if it might have something to do with my breakouts. And a few things jumped out at me straight away, things that make the conclusion really misleading if you don't look closer. And this isn't just theory, this is the exact issue I'm dealing with personally right now, which makes me even more curious about how they reached this conclusion. But let's first look at where the headline comes from, because it's based on a new study in the British Medical Journal, which followed over 200,000 American adults for several decades. And as part of that, every few years, people were asked how often they ate certain foods. French fries, boiled, baked or mashed potatoes, and potato crisps or chips if you're in the US. The main finding was that people who ate more French fries, about 3 extra servings per week, had roughly a 20% higher rate of type 2 diabetes. For those eating boiled, baked or mashed potatoes, there wasn't a significant increase in risk once weight and lifestyle were taken into account. But this is really where the data starts to fall apart. They based all of this on questionnaires, no daily logs, no photos, no actual tracking. And the thing is, if I don't write things down or take pictures, I can barely remember what I ate yesterday, let alone last week or even months ago. So there's simply no way these people could recall with any real accuracy exactly what they ate. Which means right from the start, you've got results mostly built on guesswork, and that's a real pity. But that's not the only flaw. Something else really bothered me. They didn't record the variety of the potato, and that matters more than anything else. The glycemic index, basically how quickly a food raises your blood sugar, can vary a lot between potato types and even between varieties or where they're grown. Now, generally speaking, and to keep it simple, there are waxy potatoes, which are relatively low in starch. Then there are semi-waxy potatoes, they're right in the middle. And lastly, there are the starchy ones, which can be extremely high in GI. And yes, the starchy ones are mostly used for fries, especially in the UK or the US. But to be fair, they're also often used for mashed potatoes. But I think when people make fries at home, they might unknowingly use semi-waxy or waxy potatoes because those are the most available. However, when you eat fries out, it's almost guaranteed they're starchy because you want that fluffy inside. I've talked about this in my cooking videos before. I've tested it for about 1.5 years now. And for me, potato variety changes my blood sugar more than anything else, and that matters a lot. So for everyday cooking, I stick to waxy potatoes. They don't make me feel tired and they give me steady energy. For fries, I usually go for semi-waxy or sometimes still use the waxy ones, and that way I avoid the problem entirely. And then there were the sauces, like tomato sauce, mayonnaise, cheese or gravy, and none of it was tracked. But it's not just a side detail, it completely changes the results. If I eat fries with mayonnaise, my blood sugar barely moves. The same fries with tomato sauce can cause a much more significant spike, because mayonnaise is fat which slows down the rise of blood sugar, while tomato sauce is mostly sugar, unless you get one without, and that sends it up fast. And then there's the oil they're cooked in. Beef tallow, vegetable oils, fruit oils. They all behave differently when heated. Some have a high smoke point while others break down quickly. And of course, there's also the issue of trans fats. We don't know if the oil was fresh or reused, or if the fries were cooked hot or low and slow. We just don't know. But for my tracking, I haven't noticed much of a difference in blood sugar between fries cooked in rapeseed oil or fries cooked in beef tallow. Because for me, the biggest difference is still the potato variety. But old or oxidized oils is a health problem on its own, and it's entirely possible that that could then affect things like in your body, maybe even diabetes risk. Yet this study doesn't and can't answer that. Now, to be honest, that's just part of the bigger picture. In the study, one serving of fries was set at 117 grams, but in the real world, that's not how it works. A small paper cone from a street stall might be 70 grams. A homemade plate could be a modest side or a heaping bowl. A restaurant portion could easily be double the so-called standard serving. Yet the study treated all of those as the same. So someone who is eating a small handful of fries gets lumped in with someone who is eating a mountain. And people who eat fries a lot, especially when they're eating out, are also more likely to drink sugary sodas or grab other highly processed foods along with them. Take away the fries and you might also take away their Coke, the dessert, the extra fried snacks and the sauces. So maybe it's the extras that are driving the higher diabetes risks, not the fries themselves. So when you put all this together, the findings start to look pretty meaningless without those missing details. Now, whether these studies and the way they are reported are designed to push a certain agenda like eat more whole grains to benefit part of the food industry, or whether it's just sloppy research, I can't say for sure. But it's hard to believe it's purely accidental. And when outlets I usually respect, like The Guardian, summarize these studies without mentioning any of these gaps, it starts to feel intentional. Like it's more about getting clicks than giving people the full picture. What would actually help is real tracking, people logging what they are eating with all the details. That's what I do, like the type of potato, cooking method, what it's served with, portion size, and so on. And with that kind of data, you can compare real results. Without real tracking, you get just broad observational studies that lead to the wrong conclusions. And that's why, study after study, we end up having the same conversation and making the same mistakes.